Hey guys, Kevin Goetz here from Mute Prophet with another free YouTube lesson. Finally, right? After I don't know how long it's been, but too long of a hiatus in which I mostly did nothing but spam you guys with Facebook updates going, oh, the band that my album's almost done is gonna be so good. And that is true, but most of you don't care. So for those of you who don't care about the band, I'm finally back with lessons, hooray! Today, we're continuing our musician psychology series. This is going to be, I believe, episode 6? Yeah, my computer tells me this is episode 6, in which we discuss something I like to call the myth of balance. This is a concept that my good friend Chris Zupa brought up once in a discussion that we were having about, well, balance. See, we were chatting about how damn easy it is once the motivation sets in to just want to drop off the face of the earth for a while and do nothing but create music. And that got me thinking about how many people try to tell us crazy musicians how bad that is, how we should live our lives, essentially. They like to tell us that it's somehow wrong to take an all-or-nothing approach. People say we have to invest ourselves in a career elsewhere and treat music as a hobby, something to do on the side. And every time they see us investing the majority of our energy into music, they say something like, "Son, you really need to be realistic in your expectations. I'm very concerned to see you putting so much of yourself into something so unstable." You know, or I don't know what kind of voice that was. I know my parents don't sound like that, but I'll bet yours don't sound. And the thing is, ironically enough, an all-or-nothing approach is exactly what we're setting ourselves up to cultivate here. That's the whole point of this series, this motivation-driven series of, I know it's been like several months, but if you forget, you should go back, review the previous episodes in musician psychology, because that's where we're ending up now. Somewhere where all you want to do is drop off the face of the earth and make music. And at some point, you will end up in some kind of conflict with some nosy figure in your life who thinks they should tell you how to run it. Here's the thing, guys. If you want a career in music, you're gonna have to commit to it, and commit hard. I remember this joke that stuck with me for years, right? What do you call a musician without a girlfriend? Homeless. It's that kind of defeatist attitude that stops us from even trying, which is a shame because you really can make a living at this quite comfortably. The first step, though, is putting all lukewarm thoughts out of your head. You will fail if you try to do this with one foot in and one foot out. Now, the shitty thing here is that sometimes we have no choice but to play by the rules of other people. For instance, if you're still financially reliant on your parents, they do have some leverage over you that will make this difficult. That said, while your outward actions may have to reflect whatever it is that people want to see from you, your mind, your inward actions can still very much stay fixated on this path, which is the only thing that matters to you. For those of you who are interested in Mute Prophet as a band, not just as the lessons, you're probably at least a little bit familiar with Chris, our other guitarist. Chris works a full-time, high-stress, high-intensity job that he's, for all intents and purposes, stuck in. His motivation really faltered at one point, and so he and I sat down and tried to apply this same principle to his mentality and see what was going on, because he himself wasn't quite sure why he wasn't really feeling the music anymore. What we realized was that he was thinking of himself as a worker who also happens to play guitar, rather than as a guitarist who also happens to have a normal job. Even something that subtle, that small of a shift in your mindset, can have a profound effect on your motivation. Now, something else I wanted to talk about, so many people push this attitude of having music on the side. They say it's too risky, they say you should get a safety net. They say not to make music your main source of income. And if you're someone who's gotten beaten down by that argument, you have to be aware of the kind of cynicism that has fueled that statement. It's human nature, absolutely human nature, to resist change. One of my students told me that their father said something very crushing to them once. He said something to the effect of, "Yeah, I tried to make it as a musician when I was your age. It didn't work for me, and it won't work for you." This rigid cynicism completely fails to take into account how much things have changed in even the past 20 years. You know, For one thing, when this guy was my student's age, I guarantee you the internet wasn't a thing. Which is, that's kind of hard to ignore a thing like that. It's bad. Another student of mine, a very talented female singer, actually shared something equally shitty that her mother said to her. Apparently, in this day and age, people are still perfectly capable of saying shit like, "Yeah, if you want to do this whole music thing, make sure you marry a rich guy, because he can provide for you while you do this." Yeah. And we'll talk later in the series about the role of money and how it affects your psychological outlook on music. But for now, all you need to know is that these attitudes are not only detrimental to your progress, they're complete bullshit. I'm sure you've heard all these stories about YouTubers, internet marketers, SEO experts, and other enviable assholes who make a living completely off the internet. The reality is there are a lot of them. And it really doesn't take that much to take the very same tricks that they use to make their money and apply it to music. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you want to help me out at all, the best thing you can do is leave a like or a comment, or if you're feeling especially generous, share this on Facebook to all your musician friends. That all really helps me out. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. I've got plenty of different types of lessons. You can see them all in playlists, nice, neatly organized on my channel. If you'd like to learn directly from me about anything from audio engineering to guitar techniques to songwriting, whatever, I do offer Skype lessons on all those categories. Just shoot me an email at muteprofitband@gmail.com. And of course, if you're watching this from ultimateguitar.com, you didn't get all the way to me talking to you at the end of the video. You already clicked off like at the very beginning and just made fun of me in the comments like you usually do. Okay, bye!